Hi, today is another day we are on this youth empowerment program where we have thought of it and we want to bring you some exciting conversation with another friend who has some insights about the growth of young people, how they can grow to become self-independent and much more. I don't want to exhaust everything. Just watch us having a discussion with someone who has passion to work with you. Welcome.
Thank you, Father, for having me and giving me the opportunity to share. My name is Fidelia Tabuimai. I'm a mother of two, an office manager, and I look forward to having this conversation with you. I've grown up in a family of quite mature people. I'm a last born of a family of six. At the moment, I have two living siblings. Three are late, two brothers and a sister. So I've grown up in an environment of very mature people and grown up life. So I haven't had like a like a partner or a close by sibling closer to my age. What about Fidelia? Well, Fidelia, as a child, what can I say? I was protected or sheltered. I could say that because the experiences my older siblings have had and what I've had are somewhat different. But with the same parents, I must say, both my parents are alive, of advanced age, but quite alive. Um, they brought us up in a way of respecting your values, respecting money, having principles all throughout your life. So with that, it has culminated and it has formed me who I am today. Because like I mentioned also, I'm a mother of two. I have two boys, a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. And with the family setup that I've come from and what my husband has come from, we've sort of come and merged and put those together to raise our children in certain ways and to bring them up and to have certain values. So about Fidelia as a child, grew up with many friends, happy-go-lucky. I grew up as an introvert, surprisingly, but with time, I've realized that I'm also an extrovert. I'm a people's person. I love company. I have friends from various walks of life, and yeah, I just love being happy and the good things of life.
Daria, you have talked about money, and the money is so sensitive. If today somebody was to tell me that he's going to give me some money, I was to be like, bring it. And I think that's exactly what young people mostly think about. Now, I want to ask this question. When did you start thinking about money, or when did you pick this kind of money business?
Thank you, Father. That's a good question. My background with money actually started at a very tender age, even before my teenage years. My mother, professional teacher for so long, but an avid economist, instilled in me the value of money. It takes me back in the day, I think when I was around 7 years old, because I remember every birthday year, they would have something for me. So I would ask her, so how much would this cost? And she would tell me, you know what? After every year and every birthday, I would always put money aside to save something for you. Because I would always get a doll and a cake, standard. And I love cakes. However much I have boys and I don't get to shop for dolls, I love buying toys for children. Because so I think it's something that was instilled in me from a very young age. So she would always save for that. She would always put some money aside for that, to plan for that event or something special. So with that, I got to understand and pick a few pointers. I also saw this with my older brother. He would always have a tin, like a home bank. Yes, and always put for every extra coin he had, a 20 shilling coin or a 5 shilling coin or a 10 shilling coin, he would put it in that container. So at the end of the month, I would shake it and it would weigh different, like it's heavy. So every month I would see, he would open it, remove some, leave some, and it was a continued thing every time. So I always looked forward to also having my own kind of money or container to save, like a home bank. And I shared this with my mother at the age of 9, and she was quite impressed and surprised. She was like, "Oh, really? You also want to be putting some aside because you'd have these aunties or uncles who would come and visit, and they would give you a coin or a note. That would be really exciting. Then you would not know what you'd use it for because you'd give it to your parents. But mom would say, you remember that container I gave you, the home bank? Why don't you take that and put it in there?" At the end of the year, you see, as children, you're provided for and given most of the things, so you forget. But come the end of the year, you're surprised, you ask for something, your mother gives it to you because she's like, wow, but you saved for it. So here's your gift, that special doll that you wanted or a toy. Yeah, so with that, it built on. Then as I grew older, towards my teenage years, my mom would assign me chores and duties in the house that I would do. With that, she would give me something small to get yourself some personal items, because now she feels you're coming to maturity, you take responsibility, so you buy yourself something from your pocket money and you spend, you get whatever you need. So to cater for your basic needs. Through high school, I would be given pocket money by my older siblings, and my parents would shop for me whatever was required. So for me, I would not see the need to spend my pocket money for anything else. I've been shopped for things, so the extra money, I'll just keep it. Come closer or closing day, I would have this money with me, so I would keep it and count and tell my mom. I would always confide in her and tell her, you know what, I have this amount of money. She'd be shocked. She'd be like, really? But you've not used it for anything. I'm like, yeah, because you've bought me whatever I needed, so I didn't see the need to buy anything extra. My mother was very strict, so matters to do with buying sweets or candy or treats never resonated with me. I've never had a dental issue because I never indulge in such habits or behavior. So she was really impressed with that kind of habits and saving mode that I kept on. And I carried it on towards my adult years, throughout college, the same thing. You'd want to shop for something or buy yourself something. School fees has been paid, luckily. So you have that extra money or pocket money. You're given transport for a week or a month to cater for your transport and your activities during college time. So I would always keep some, spend some, and leave some. So I wasn't really into spending until my adult years. And life happens. Things are different. You're exposed to other things. So yeah, with time, it builds up, it builds on. Then she says, okay, you've come of age, you have an ID, you can open an account. Why don't you put that money into your account? You know, save it for a rainy day or an emergency. And that's why I started an emergency fund. Yeah, throughout college. And it built on. And with that, I managed to acquire a few things, do a few things with them. Built up on that with the saving, and whatever the money market has to offer, you also participate in them, buy some stocks, get some shares. Then the job started coming after college. You qualify, you get a job, you get a good pay. As an intern, you're like, wow. And you're still living at home. That is also a plus, because I would be honest, I got married from my parents' house and never had an experience of living on my own, paying rent. I did pay bills while I was living with the parents, so I felt, you know what, they've given me a roof over my head and I'm earning. The least I could do groceries, pay a few bills here and there. The extra money, I would save it. Why was I saving it? Because maybe I wanted to do a holiday or buy a particular item. So with that, then relationships were formed. My husband came along. We dated for a while, actually before we settled. We dated for 7 years before we tied the knots. Been married for 11 years. So yeah, put the two together. You see how long we've been together. And you might think that I'm a very strict saver or someone who invests. My husband is on another level. Even he started pretty early during his youth years. And also it's something that was instilled and built on from the parents. They encouraged it. They opened an account for them, for the siblings. They said, this is for your education fund. So we have this saving going. They had businesses going also. So whatever income or financing they would get, they would task him to go oversee or look after those properties or collect the monies like the rent income, to pay for his school fees, cater for his upkeep. So with that also it builds on and you get to understand and appreciate the value of money.
I love what you have said. And truly, your story is one of its own. I want you to tell us what really triggered your mother to introduce you into money business at the age of 7. According to the Catholic Church, we know the age of 7 is the age of reason, that we allow young kids to get to start making informed decisions. You were given this responsibility at the age of 7. You have grown with it. You are talking until you got married, that you were someone who was conscious about any coin you found or earned. What did this make your peers feel like?
Right. That's a good point, Father, you bring out. Yes, at such a young age is the age of reason. So I believe it's the experiences and also what my mother saw out there happening. So she wouldn't want that for her own children. To my friends, it seemed to find me a bit really different and awkward. But I can tell you, with that fact, you'd be the one to be called upon on or to be asked, oh, Fidelia, would you help me with this or with this amount? I'm short of this. You see, you'd always be the one to help and to give the helping hand. Why was I not a spendthrift? Because I really didn't see the thrill or every time doing it. You see, you have those friends, okay, today we would go out, we would get this. Yeah, then the next time they would want to do it over and over again. For me, I would always indulge once, but not all through. It doesn't have to be all the time. And I just realized at the end of the day, it will still be there. It doesn't get over, it doesn't run out. Yeah, so you'd always indulge, yes, once in a while, but the rest of the time for me, I would always think about the future. And it's something that my parents instilled in me. Why? Because it got to a point, my dad had struggles with his work life, and this is now when my mother made it clear to me. So she felt, you know what, to save ourselves, to save the family from either being homeless or lacking a few things here and there, why don't we instill this and start this early? And for that, they actually moved out to one of their first retirement home, which my mother acquired way back, like just before she had me. That was one story that really resonated with me about that house. The fact that she went out of her way, she made sacrifices to see to it that they had a home, a house that they could own. Now it is of value and they have somewhere to put their heads in, and they would not think, oh, where would we find rent? Have such thoughts. When we retire, will our pension be enough to cater for our housing, our upkeep? So it was just a safekeeping mode for her to instill in me and to ensure, you know what, there's always going to be a future. You always have to have an emergency fund. Yeah.
Wow. Fidelia, I think you are one of the genius women we can say when it comes to doing things for yourself. From the age of 7, you started buying gifts for yourself indirectly. You saved it when it was saved. Your mother just took it when you needed it and gave it back to you. You developed this habit. And now you're talking about an emergency fund. Why is this necessary for in life of a young person? We know that like in a building like this, there is an emergency exit or wherever that can make everyone who is in this building safe.
Yeah.
In life development and personal growth, why do you think young people need an emergency fund?
Good point, Father. An emergency fund. It is your gateway and your way out, like your freedom, for lack of a better word. Because you never know what could happen. You could lose your job, you could lose your support or your help from friends, family, your partner. So an emergency fund is your gateway to freedom and to getting the help needed if no one else comes to your aid. That is why it was key. So I picked that from my mother because I could see with that safety kit, yeah, the safety kit for her, the emergency fund, it's where you would pick, get what you need if someone doesn't come to help you, or if you call the bank and they say no, you don't qualify for now, or no, not for the moment, you have access to it. You're able to do things that you're not capable of doing and waiting to be done at a later stage. So that really saves you and gives you that safety zone. Yeah.
You have said it right. And you just made me realize what I recently wrote in my book, The Cry of the Young People. When I'm trying to speak to them so that they can see something beyond their current situation. In chapter 3 of this book, The Cry of the Young People, I say this: free yourself by being yourself. You gained your financial freedom again at an early age. Now you have talked about you are not scared about losing a job, not even the dependence in marriage. You see yourself that you are into marriage as a partner, you contribute, you make it work. And this is not what we see with young people. How does it make you feel?
Great. It is true. Financial freedom is very key. And the fact that you start at a tender age, at a young age, that will give you an opening to so many things. A reason being, once you have your financial freedom, you'll have capability of pursuing other things, other applications, not only your job. If your job doesn't work out, you have a fallback plan. Case in point, with my job, whatever savings I've managed to do, I managed to create a business. I invested in a business. And that way, I always have a fallback plan. If I know my job will not work today, I have somewhere to fall back to or something to go into. If my partner's job doesn't work out, we have a saving, a funding somewhere to keep us, a safe net, to keep us going and to continue enjoying the kind of life and the lifestyle that you're living until something else comes up. So that is very key. Having that investment idea and plan at the back of your mind is very key. Not everyone would have it, but just having that, even if you don't pursue it yourself or you get someone else to do it for you, it is very key.
You have talked about investment. I think investment, me and many young people may think that is a big animal somewhere or something beyond young people. But for you, it's something you started doing right from your early childhood. Now, can you elaborate what does it mean to invest and in what kind of things you can invest in as a young person?
Okay. You bring up a good point, an investment. Investing. I think from the beginning I forgot to mention, I'm actually a pharmacist by profession, but I shelved that career line. I practiced for 2 years, and during that 2 years, I did something that I never thought would bring out the best in me. Instead, I invested in myself. I took myself back to school to do my bachelor's in business administration. And I went a step further and I did a double major in administration and finance. All through that time, I paid my own school fees from my savings, from that pot. Because I remember every time I would go to the bank and I do a transfer to the university, I would feel some sort of excitement and pleasure in it. Because I felt, you know what, if I do this, this is really great. It will lead to greater things and to bigger things. And that's what created my current job position and all the 12 years of my career that I've built on. So investing in oneself could be either education-wise, could be a business venture, whatever you're passionate about. You put your passions into practice to make you earn money and to have that income coming through. So there are variations of investment plans or ideas that you could do. You could write a book, like a children's book, like what you have done for the youth. It is a good investment. You know, we get to buy your books, read about them. The young people get to read about them, and they also get to learn and to put good use of their monies, of their time, of their skills into practice.
I'm humbled that you have acknowledged that writing is also an investment. If I tell you the story that made me to start writing, 4 years ago, I was also challenged when I was doing an online course, how to become a good communicator. And this mentor, that is John Maxwell, said this: if you want to be an expert in an area, do one thing that you like every day for 1 hour. You could grow into it. I picked that and I started writing 1,000 words every day. Today, this is my 4th book. My 5th book is just coming next month. I invested my time in writing. You invested your money that show you going back to school. It's not easy for many young people, or even those who are not young. They may be having a job that is not desirable. They cannot make a shift because they have no option. You had an option. Why do you think then today we need to teach young people to start investing in what they are good at?
Investing is very key. In that it bears so much fruit that while you're doing it at the moment, you feel, oh my, this is a waste of time. I could use that money for something else. But if you're patient enough and you realize the benefits of it later, it is really, really grand. From my experience, when I first started working as a pharmacist and practiced for 2 years, I felt, you know what, I still live with my parents, I have this money. Part of it, I'm saving it. I'm saving it for what? Why don't then I upscale and do another skill that I'm passionate about? I'm all about organization, planning. That really resonated with me. And I figured in the business world, it's something that's quite marketable. So I figured, you know what? It's a different course, it's a different line. I have the time, I had the money then. So I said, you know what? Why don't I invest in myself, upscale myself to greater heights? And that, for my parents, they were like, wow, really? You're going back? I'm like, yes. Because that time I figured also the parents, they have given you the basic of education, good enough. It has gotten you to this level, good enough. Is it what I want? Is it what I want to settle for? No, I wanted more. So I said, you know what? I'm going back to university. I'll take up this course. I did evening classes. The first time it used to be very hectic, but I got a university that was close by my place of work. So that also really helped and built up and encouraged me to prod on and to pursue more of this. 3-hour classes in the evenings after work. And during exam time, I would take time off work from that previous work I had, the job I had. And they were very accommodative and they said, yes, you're upscaling, you're upgrading, why not? Please pursue it. And that way also your employer feels this lady really wants to do more and to give us more. So you become more of an asset to the company and not a liability. So they figured, you know what, you're doing this on your own, no sponsorship, please. They even give you time. They say, yeah, show us the school calendar. We could work with that and accommodate it. And I'm really glad to say that they were very supportive in this. And after graduation, I was promoted to another position. So with promotion, you get more money. So you make more money. What do you do with it? You continue investing into something else, something more of benefit. And you see the benefits of doing this for yourself. You get to do more and more grand things. You don't stick and you feel like, oh, So this is it. So what more, or what can I do? You wallow. Fine, you've gone to university, you've gone to college, and this is what I've seen with most young people. You've studied, you've graduated, are the jobs there? They are not available. So what more can you do for yourself? Do a course that's affordable, or your parents can support you, or you can support yourself. Use your skill. Make use of your skill. We all have various skills. We can't all be employable. That's the amazing thing I realize. We are not all employable. There are people who are really good with crafts and they're hands-on. So make good use of that, and you may have an income. You know, they always say money is the root of all evil, but at the end of the day, it is this money that could get you from one step to the next, from point A to point Z. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. You know, you are like oozing out all the thoughts that anyone would want to pick today and take them to a bank to start investing them. I listened as you spoke about what investment has done to you. It has given you so many options, such that today you are that person with so much ahead of you, because you have invested in yourself, you have invested in your time, and you enjoy these options. But do you mean this came without sacrifice? And if it demanded some sacrifice, tell us, what does it mean?
Yes, with investments, it entails a lot of sacrifices. I know a lot of youth would want to have fun, enjoy it, buy everything and anything they would think or dream of. But sacrifices do have to be made for certain things to happen or to be. Case in point, throughout my education while I was working, I had to forgo and sacrifice so much. Trips with friends, time with family or events, those do come along. And you should be willing and ready to sacrifice or forgo some of these things. Trips that you would want to pursue or go for, you know, because, oh yes, there's an exam, the school calendar, there was an exam, or I actually missed my brother-in-law's wedding because I had a major exam during my third year. And I was expecting my first child at that. So I had a double-edged sword. But you know what? After my exam and my paper, and it was the best performed one, I managed to go to the wedding reception. But you see, you missed the first session of the wedding, the process and everything. But you know your family has your back, so they had videos and pictures to show for it. So it entails a lot of sacrifices. Many people are not willing and ready to make those sacrifices. But it is key for you to get to wherever you want to go and where you want to be. So sacrifices have to be made. It is very important to know that it doesn't all come easy. You have to forgo some things. Yeah.
Wow. And that's what you have just said, making a sacrifice because you trust that your family is there for you. Chapter 4 of this book.
Ooh.
Where I talk about stretch your hands to help others. That is the young people. But for you, when you are trying to make sacrifices, you get helped into it, then you go back to over what you think is necessary. And this is where we want to ask, why do you think it's more important to bank in the support of the family than the friends you are to sacrifice to go their trips and other events? Where did this confidence of trusting your family to friends came from?
I believe trust in family is everything, because your family will always have your back, irrespective. Like I mentioned, I have 2 older siblings. We have our own issues, sometimes here and there. But at the end of the day, they are your family. They will always have your back. Friends come and go. They are not like your blood relatives. A friend would be here with you right now or spend time with you now, but at the end of the day, they realize, ah, yeah, you're just a passing cloud. You're not my family. I'm not your blood relative. I'm not accountable to you. But with your family, they would go through thick and thin to see that you get and benefit and gain the best in life. And for you to get there, they will always have your back. I don't know how best to put it, but friends do come and go. And they're friends for season and for a reason. I've had that share of experience myself. My childhood friends, they're not all with me at the moment, you know. I have now friends that were not there like during my childhood or my teenagehood. No, we have made friends as life has moved on, as I've progressed and grown. Work related or family or gatherings or events out there. So they are friends for a reason and for a season. So they may not always be there. That's why your family and your close-knit family members, be it cousins, uncles, or aunties, would always have your back. But friends do come and go. So with the youth, they need to be very careful, even with the choice of friends they have. The bigger share of my friends or relationships I have at the moment is my high school friends. Been in touch for over 24 years. Yes. And we've built such close relations within our families, within our careers, our plans and investments. For women, we have these things called chamas. We even had a chama group. We did investments with them. We did great. And then when it came to sharing and sharing the benefits and the proceeds, everyone parted ways. We did and reinvested into other things. And we've grown from that. You see, if you have such friendships and such relations that are like-minded and towards a certain goal or objective that is positive and helpful for everyone, those are the kinds of friends you should keep. But friends for just partying and having a good time, when you're down, no one is there with you or for you, they are run away. Those are not friends to keep.
Fidelia, you have talked nicely about friendship. And I'm lucky you are my friend. That's why I'm here with you. Because we want to share a message to young people. Imagine if we were not friends. You will not even be free to share what you are sharing.
True.
Now, there is one area when many people, especially young people, don't know. You are a married person. You have talked so much about your husband. Tell us, were you good friends with your husband?
Friendships are very key and very important. I'd mentioned earlier, my husband and I were friends for 7 years. We dated for 7 years and everyone was wondering, what are you guys still waiting for? You don't succumb to pressure. For us, we had a plan. We're like, we need to first get to know each other, learn this person. And I am still learning and he is still learning about me, even after 11 years in marriage. But friendships are very important. You build these friendships, you learn about each other, you get to know the likes and dislikes of the other person. You get to put your heads together and plan. So what do we want out of this? What are we working towards? Or what are we looking for in all this, in the relationship? With that, then you realize, oh, maybe we're on the same page, yeah? We could work on this, I could adjust on this, yeah? So you realize then with your partner, you're like, we're on the same wavelength, then we could work together. Why don't we then put ourselves together and work together and support each other throughout this? So with him, you have that freedom and comfort, knowing that, he has my back, I have his back, you know. Surprisingly enough, after our university years, because we met when I was in first year, he was in third year, he did engineering. And during our time of dating and finishing university period, he graduated, I graduated. He tarmacked for a year. I got my first job just after university 6 months later. And he took me to my interview. He took me to my place of work first time. And he was still tarmacking, but we never broke up because I was making money, he was not. No, he was still doing small odd jobs here and there. We still supported each other. Then his big job came, and when we look back then, we're like, wow, look at us now. I started off small. He started off much later, but eventually he grew up and it picked. So you see, with that kind of a relationship with someone, you don't look at what they're bringing or what they are now. You know, looking back, my friends, my girlfriends, some of my girlfriends will be like, what are you still doing with him? I mean, he's not even working, but you're the one earning the money. Wouldn't you consider? But you look at the person's personality and what they're all about and what they would bring to the table. I never thought we would get here or be here now. Looking back then, you know, I would have said, no, this one, he doesn't have much going, or he doesn't have much to bring at the table, so let's fold this. No, 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 no. It's where you're at now. What are you looking at? What do you want in the future with this person for yourselves? You know, can you build it together? Can you work it out together? So you build that trust, in this person. And you continue working and developing each other. He also did a secondary course as he was waiting to get this employment thing going. And when he eventually came through, it has helped him. 12 years later into his career, it has really helped him to get that kind of skill that he has. You know, an exceptional management course that he did together with his engineering career, you know. So he felt like it wasn't a waste of time. So friends, you building that relationship and having such friendships is very important. You assess and you check yourself and you ask yourself, is this what I want? Is this the person I want to spend my life with or to be with, you know, or to grow with? You always have to have that thought. Not always spending and doing, you know, looking forward to spending or buying things. No, it shouldn't always be the case. Fun time, yes, but also look at the future. Yeah.
Fidelia, I've listened to you very well, and I've found some serious integrated values in you. As an investor, before you make an attempt to put your money somewhere, already you would have figured out and seen the opportunity and not the outcome.
Yeah.
In friendship, this is what exactly you have talked about. You have looked into these persons and asked yourself, where can you go with them? This is a challenge for young people. Unable to identify even these opportunities in their lives. When people are looking for employment, you have shared it rightly, and I really thank your husband and not your girlfriends who are different mindset. I think your husband had already seen a treasure within you. He had already taken a risk to invest in you, even to walk you to the jobless. You had also seen the same in him. He had no job, but you could still patiently keep company.
Yeah.
We are lacking that in the lives of young people. What can you tell them?
Truth be told, all that glitters is not gold. And the youth need to be advised and cautioned not to take things at face value. You know, all the big cars we see out there, they don't come out easy. And for one to get to that point, unless you're a corrupt government official, it takes a lot of hard work and sacrifices to be made, you know. And you need to put in so much effort into your work to get that good pay. You know, a lot of youth after university, they have very high expectations for jobs, you know. They're like, no, you should be paying me at this certain tier or this level of a band or a salary scale. It is not the case. When I hire you or you get into employment, you have to put a hard work into it also. Put some effort into it to get to that band you expect and have expectations of. So you really have to work on yourself, have good work ethics, integrity, put the effort into the job, what is expected of you and the role and the responsibilities. So case in point, like my husband, for him to when he started off his job, he felt, wow, they're being overloaded, the workload is too much. And it was on a shift basis mode of operation. And that time, he just got his first year into the job. We are like, okay, now let's consider marriage. I'm like, hey, it's just the first year into your job. Why don't we give it like 3 years? We test the waters. We see how the job takes you, finish your trainee, management trainee program. Then we see how it goes. And that time I had just started my second course now at the university. So with that also, we played along, we made a lot of sacrifices. We stayed, both of us were staying in our parents' places. But after his first year of the job, he decided, okay, now he can be independent. He wants to get a place of his own. Also to show that, yeah, he's also serious about this settling and living with somebody else. So, it's gradual, it's time. You just give yourself time. I mean, this life is here to be lived. If you rush things through, then what? What next? And that is where now they get to develop other ideas of, not productive ideas. So you just take your time. It's gradual. It doesn't all happen at once. It takes a bit of time.
Fidelia, and again I say you are a genius in this area. Why do I say this? You have taken us to a level of expectations that affect everyone in life, even right in business world. But we want to help our young people to manage their expectations, for them to get to invest rightly in their potentials. What can you say about that?
That's a great point to note. Managing expectations. It's very key, because if you don't, you would be very disappointed. It would lead to depression. It would lead to poor choices. So people, the youth need to understand managing their expectations is very key in all aspects of life, in relationships, in marriage, in job opportunities. You just need to accept and learn how to deal, and you manage what you have. Case in point, if you do an investment in yourself, like, yes, you've gone back to school, you've done this wonderful course, now we digress, we say, yeah, I've done my engineering course, I'm feeling like the job market is not conducive for me, so let me do architectural course, another 6-7 years, and still you don't get what you are yearning or wanting to settle or get that good job or great job that you're looking for. So what do? I mean, you have 2 great career points that you've pursued. I mean, that's close to 15 years in university or in college, engineering and architectural. So how do you go about it? You have to find a middle ground. Yeah. Either you take a lower career aspect of the engineering side or the architectural side, but you grow through the ranks. That way you're able to fit in somewhere, have an earning, have something going with yourself as you build and you carry on with your career. So you might not always get the big job or the big monies that you aspire or you yearn, but with time, it comes up and it grows. So the youth need to learn that it's not always rosy. Yeah, you've gone to university, you've done that economics course, you've done that engineering course, but is the job there? No. So what would you do then to cushion yourself? Yes, you have the qualification, you have the papers, but there's nothing for you out there. Like we said we are not all employable. So what do you do about it? Get some skill set going then to cushion yourself, not to feel you're left out or you're lacking or you just don't fit anywhere. No. There's always something for everybody. You can get something going for yourself. You can't always just remain idle and wallow into depression. You're like, oh, now all my friends have it, they have it all, they're going on. No. And also time. There's always time for everything. And if it's yours, that's my principle that I've lived with. I always say with jobs, if it is yours and truly it is meant to be yours, you will get it. If it's something is meant to grow or to flourish, to pursue, and you pursue it, and you really put your all efforts and energy into it, that energy and mindset, it will flourish and it will come to be.
You just reminded me that it took me 11 years from the time I made a decision to become a priest. 1 to 11, you can count.
Yeah.
I did 2 degrees. As if that was not end, when I finished my training, here I am as a priest. But the question again cropped in me. How can I become an effective communicator? That's where I realized that my communication skills was almost to nothing. Imagine doing 2 degrees and there is no time I was taught on how to communicate or to win the other. When I realized that I wasn't a good communicator, I had to take another investment. And this is when, I started small. I went to my laptop and said, how do you become a good communicator? And that's where I got into John Maxwell. And rightly from there, it has taken me now 4 years with the John Maxwell team, learning daily to do small things. And as I've said earlier, I've majored in writing and talking, coaching individuals. With the program now of youth empowerment, I've started employing the skills. It is something I never saw 4 years ago. But now I'm seeing something that is so big than me. If today you would encourage young people to manage their expectations, what do they need to expect?
Thank you, Father. You bring out a very key and important issue and topic, actually. The youth need to realize that not what they pursue in school or studied in school is the only way forward. Like cast in stone, this is the way to go and this is what they need to do. There's so much potential out there and opportunities that they could pursue. Like making good use of their hard skills, not only the soft skills that you get, from school or wherever, but they also need to put into practice the use of their own niche, like what they like doing. Case in point, for the life of me, I never thought that pursuing a finance and administrative course would get me to love procurement and travel and events. I have such deep passion for planning for events and organizing for events, functions. Out of my passion and good relations and networks that I've built throughout my career. Like if I would leave my job right now, I think I would go into events comfortably and I will just swim into it, organizing, planning, the logistics part of it, So when you get into doing something or learning a skill or a particular passion that you're into, it brings out so much more that you would never have thought or imagined that would come out of it, and it would be of benefit. Just like you put it, took you so long to get into priesthood, but you see the benefits and what else has come out of it. You learned a new skill and you've made into good use of it. You've authored several books and you're still publishing more. That way you get to learn and to build yourself. So the youth need to realize, not what your parents tell you, like you need to go and study to be a lawyer, a doctor. It's not the only thing in life. There are other things that could make you more productive, and to bring you out of your misery or poverty. For me also, another thing why investment was very key is the fear of just lacking. I just don't want to lack. The basic of basics, I feel like, no. It should not be the case. If I am capable and I'm able to do it, why not make good use of it? Earn something out of it, yeah. And to get that thing that you want or you need or you require, yeah.
Fidelia, you have said it rightly. You turned your fears of lacking, like the basics, into an opportunity of working harder to provide or to make sure that you will not lack. Today, we are talking about joblessness. How can the young people turn this into an opportunity?
Yes, the current situation with the youth and joblessness, I believe if laziness is not the word for them, I don't know. Majority of our youth are really lazy and they're not outgoing. There are very many creatives out there. They are very creative mind. They can put good use into that. You're living in a neighborhood and you're seeing something is lacking or missing. And you can see the residents, really they're able and capable of doing something about it. Why don't you just take that initiative? I think also initiative is another key thing. Most of our youth, they don't have that initiative. I don't know what's going on with our learning system. Now we've solved for a year. I don't know how that will be picked or corrected. We are trying to do our best at home with them. But initiative, they really need to take that initiative and pick up or get involved into something within their own communities. You're seeing clearly there's something lacking. The parents are there. Maybe they're busy with their jobs and other things going. So why don't they do something about it? Case in point, okay, they live in a neighborhood and there are like 10 cars at the parking. Why don't these youths come together, do a car wash thing, you know, start something car wash or cleaning activity, yeah? If there is none currently ongoing, you know, you take up that initiative and do something of benefit to the community. Or a neighborhood watch. I don't know if I do a lot of movies or something, but, you know, be your own, safeguarding your own self. So it starts with you. So if you feel then there are security issues and insecurity issues around the place or the community, why don't they take it up themselves and, you know, come up with ideas to safeguard the place or the people around them? So I think it's the initiative and the creative minds that youth need to put into use at the moment. This issue of joblessness, we should not have it. You know, we should not hear of it. You know, with that also, the government will feel compelled and say, you know what, our youth are really trying hard to do something. Why don't we support them or invest in them? You know, give them maybe the resources or the opportunities now to do something. So they need to put the initiative and the creative mind into it to bring themselves out of that joblessness.
I love what you have talked about, initiative. But remember, initiative is as good as the potential lying in us, which can never be put into use unless it is tapped. Many of our young people, unfortunately, they have no one trustworthy to tap it. And we have watched it. Some programs we have seen coming around, which are not going to empower many of them to become creative. In my book here, The Cry of the Young People, I cited a story of one young man who joined university. Having realized for where he came from, the parents were only able to afford him tuition fee. But because of being creative, he went ahead to do some cleaning jobs within the campus. This secured a place to sleep and food daily, but also gave him an opportunity to start investing, that at the end of the day, when he came to graduate, he invited all the guests to a certain restaurant. And it's until everyone ate and their stomachs were full, without no one asking how bills are going to be sorted out, it came to this moment, vote of thanks being given by one of them attendants. He started saying, "Dear sir, I want to thank you so much and congratulate you during your graduation day. I've never had such a boss, down to earth. I've worked with you for years, but you have taught me a great lesson." And everyone was like, "What? Who is the boss?" They looked at that man who was in a gown. He was shaking his head, appreciating the words that came from this manager of the restaurant, when all started asking whose restaurant it was, they will see it from the communication. Our young people need someone who can tap their potential. You have grown with this kind of mindset. You are confident where you are today. Could you tell us something about your mentor? And why do the young people need one?
Yeah. It's good you've brought out a very important issue regarding investments and mentorship. You really have to have a good mentor or someone to encourage you to pursue investing and engage in certain investments. My biggest mentor for me was my mother, and what I saw and what she instilled in me. So for the youth, they need to have someone to encourage them and to help them to make the right decisions, to pursue the right things, in the sense that maybe career-wise, yeah, matters, things to do with life. Could not be your parent, actually. Could be a sibling or somebody elderly within the community or the family or the church. They really do come a long way. You might have more than one mentor, actually, in your life, that too, because they tend to touch or fulfill various capacities in your life. Could be a career way, yeah, could be your career or a life-changing situation, you know. Somebody who is close and understands. With investments also, you need to speak to the right people, you know, to pursue and to do the right investing. And also to give you investment options, because not all would serve or be favorable for everybody, you know. So it's also important to talk to the right people, to check what is available in the market, read through. I actually did a lot of reading eventually, even in my adult life. I'm like, oh, what is available in the market? What would work for me? What should we pursue? You know? So somebody who would encourage you and help you to pursue the right kinds of investments in life and what to do with yourself would be very ideal. So having a mentor is very key. Yeah.
Fidelia, I want to congratulate you for being so insightful. You have made me think of a case here of a midwife in a deeper way and mentorship. Many people have called me a midwife in their life, but more when you come to engineering and machine work, they call me a mechanic who does good panel fitting and puffing their cars. When I look at a midwife, they are always after bringing life. And a mentor, as you have said it rightly, in the lives of the young people, they have the responsibility of getting what is within them. It's not what they think about the young people, but what is already within the young people, and they want to ensure safety of the delivery of this life. What do you think? Would that be applicable, or is a wrong notion or an narrow in this case of investment?
Interesting you bring the midwife as one who brings life to brings out of a mother and helps to aid in that. Same thing with a mentor. Takes me back. My mother actually told me that with my delivery, she was helped by the midwife, because it was during the coup period and there were restrictions of movement. So she was always by her side. So it's the same with a mentor. The mentor will help you to bring out the best out of you, to give you options, opportunities out there. Now it's upon you as yourself to really bring out those good benefits out of it, your potential, and you action them.
I don't know whether there is any other opportunity to give God thanks for people like you, Fidelia, on this program. You have said it, and we have come this far. I have said this and I want to repeat it. All that you have shared, any young person outside there should get it and rightly go and invest it. But before then we wind, maybe there's that a word you have for those who might have missed. What would you want them not to miss from you?
Okay, good. Yeah. True, the potential is in us as youth. So, in summary, the youth really need to realize that the potential is in them. It is upon them to make the right decisions, invest in the right things, go out there, seek the information, the knowledge of what would be ideal and viable. There's something for everyone. It doesn't matter how small or how big it is. The potential is within you. You start now, you start early, and in the future, you will have it all. Thank you, Father Dennis, for the opportunity. Yeah, and investment it's a wide topic, but you can't cover it in a day or in an hour's time. There are always various opportunities for everybody. So to the youth out there, if you need more information and details regarding investments, please feel free. You can reach me. My details are down there. And yeah, investment is the future nesting that you would need, everybody needs. The earlier you start, the better for you, and the more benefits you would get from it. Thank you.
Wow. I'm so amazed to have you, first of all, as my friend. Thank you. And on this program, I always tell our viewers, every time we appear on the screen, we are one man or one woman stronger. Today we have someone who is so passionate about money that everyone else wants to get. But she has shown us that money is not everything. And what she has said it rightly, if we start now, we are making our nest for the future. Money is all about, or investment is all about future nesting. It's a vocabulary I've learned, and I want to appreciate for a lesson well taught, and I want to believe this is exactly what you have learned from us. Thank you once again. It was so energy-giving even to see you talking with a lot of passion into this. We want to tell you this. These our young people will always want to reach you. Please join us to empower them. In this youth empowerment program, we have always said, we are always ready to listen to empower you. Today we have added this passionate friend who want to make sure you are on the right track to invest, to have security, and to reach your life dream without fear. Get out of that by always contacting her to learn more or keeping tuned to the program, because we want to assure you, you are going to come back.
Definitely.
We also want to tell you this, be ready for much more in the next coming week. Thank you.